We're so glad you could be with us here this morning to celebrate life, grieve our sufferings, and connect with one another. We hope you find Third Unitarian Church to be a place that enriches your spirit and motivates you to take action to bless the world. We welcome all people in this church, and we welcome your whole person. So in your order of service today, you will find a board survey asking you your opinions about who will be on the search committee to find a new minister. At the top of that survey, you will see the criteria that the board will be using to select the search committee. Please take these criteria seriously and then submit your recommendations for the committee and your accompanying reasons for those recommendations to the board by Monday, February 16th. Today is the opening of our pledge drive. I say it every week when we collect the offering that sharing our resources with this community is how we demonstrate our commitment to it. The Pledge Committee would like you to take some time this month to consider your commitment to this church and whether your financial contribution matches that commitment. There are some guidelines to evaluate that in the pledge packet that was sent out to you all. We will have folks giving their testimony each Sunday this month, leading up to our Commitment Sunday celebration on the 22nd. Today at 12:30 in the sanctuary, we'll be having a meeting that will introduce the first draft of the budget for next year and to get your feedback on that draft. Marty Shalhoub promises that he'll try to get you home before we all turn into Baptists. So, you may notice that I'm not wearing a robe this morning, and I spent the morning trying to come up with a theological reason why I'm not. But the truth is that I just left it at the tailor's. So, we are all human. It's okay to be human. Ministers get to be human for a living. Theological reason why. Next week's forum will present a panel discussion with the Austin Scholarship Pioneers, the founding members of 4 decades of helping students attend college. Immediately following the service next week, please join us for the Austin Scholarship Luncheon in honor of Black History Month, located in the Rosen Room. At next week's worship service, Mama Kemba will perform the life of Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Mama Kemba will be storytelling, and Minister Jennifer Nordstrom will be convening at this dramatic service honoring Miss Hamer and the Civil Rights Movement. Once again, welcome to Third Unitarian Church.
light this chalice as a symbol of hope, faith, freedom, and love, and connect to Unitarian Universalists in the past, present, and the future.
Friend, I have lost the way.
The way leads on.
Is there another way?
The way is one.
I must retrace the track.
It's lost and gone.
Back. I must travel back.
None goes back. None goes there. None.
Then I'll make here my place.
The road runs on.
Stand still and set my face.
The road leaps on.
Stay here. Forever. Stay.
None stays here. None.
I cannot find the way.
The way leads on.
Oh, the places I have passed.
That journey's done.
And what will come at last.
The way leads on. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing the opening hymn, number 187.
Love is the spirit of the church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You may be seated unless you'd like to join us up on the chancel for the story for all ages.
Good morning. Nice to see you. So today we're talking about faith. Who can tell me what it means to have faith?
You think you can do something and you try and try no matter what.
You think you can do something and you try and try no matter what. That's a pretty good answer. Absolutely. So having faith means that you think things are going to turn out all right, even if they're really hard right now. So I'm going to share a story. It's actually a folktale from Afghanistan about a man who had really a lot of faith, even when things got really, really rough. And you need to know that the man the story is about, his faith was in God. And we Unitarians, some of us have faith in God and some of us have faith in the universe or the great mystery or in human beings. But this guy, he had faith in God. So we're going to go with that. One starry night in old Kabul, which is in Afghanistan, the good Shah, and a Shah is like a king, kind of, couldn't fall asleep. He stretched and he yawned and he rolled out of bed. Looking out toward the faint lights that glowed in the windows below, he wondered if the people there were sad or happy, rich or poor, foolish or wise. He climbed into his servant's clothes and slipped out of the palace, and he could wander through the streets and no one would know it was really the Shah. The Shah walked until he came to the poorest section of the poorest street, and he stopped outside a home where he heard laughter and singing, and inside he saw a young man and his wife leaning together over the nectar of sweet raisins by the light of their 2 Sabbath lamps. Asking himself what on earth could such poor people be happy about, the Shah knocked on their door. "Well, come and eat, you weary traveler," the poor man said, "for we have plenty." Although really, they didn't have hardly anything. "Thank you," said the Shah, feeling the contentment that filled the room. "What do you do that you are such a happy man?" "I'm a shoemaker. When I see a toe popping out of a slipper in the street, I mend that slipper then and there. With the puli, which is money, I earn, I buy food for dinner." "But what if one day you can't earn enough puli?" asked the Shah. "Don't worry about such things," replied the shoemaker. He cut up his last small apricot and gave the guest the biggest piece. "If one path is blocked, God leads me to another, and everything turns out just as it should." Well, the Shah was really impressed, but he was a curious guy, and he wasn't sure if he bought this happy attitude thing. And so he wondered, how much faith does this shoemaker really have? So he sent messengers to every court of the city and made a law that no one could fix shoes in the street. Not allowed anymore. This is terrible. Okay. We all use that. I'll speak up.
That actually means
It says low battery. "This is terrible," said the shoemaker's wife. "What will we do?" "Don't worry," the shoemaker said. "Life has thrown troubles in our paths before, but no matter what comes, everything turns out just as it should." So he walked through the city until he was really thirsty, and he stopped for cool water, and he noticed a water carrier filling his bucket. "Well, can a man earn his living carrying water to sell?" the shoemaker asked. "If he has strong hands, he can," said the water carrier. So the poor man filled a water pouch, and all day he sold water. And he made enough money to get food for dinner. When the last bit of sun had disappeared from the sky, the Shah said his evening prayer, and then he returned to the poor man's house, and he found them happy as ever, him and his wife. "Still in Kabul and still hungry, I see," the man said to the Shah, who didn't know he was really the Shah. "Share our meal. Well, we have plenty," but they really didn't have much. "I was thinking about you all day," said the Shah, "because when I heard that royal decree, I was afraid your God might have, not been around for you." "Oh no," laughed the poor man, "he's always with me, and now I'm a water carrier. It's a hard job, mind you, and I don't make as much as I did, but thankfully, here I sit with all I need. There you go. I know, well now it's on. Thank you, Kyle. So you see, things have turned out just as they should. Perhaps that wasn't enough of a test, said the Shah. So he went home and he made another law. And he sent messages that no one could sell water in the streets anymore. This is terrible, said the poor man's wife. What will we ever do? Ah, don't worry, said her husband. Maybe I can't fix shoes or carry water, but I have faith that something else will come my way. At that moment, a ragtag band of woodcutters passed by outside the window, and the poor man ran into the street. Well, can someone earn his keep gathering wood? The poor man asked. If he has fast hands and a strong back, he can, said one of the woodcutters. So the poor man cleaned his axe and he chopped and gathered wood all day. That evening he sold the wood and used the puli he earned to buy rice for dinner. And of course the Shah came back to visit him again to see what happened. He said, I thought about you all day. What happened when the royal law said that you couldn't carry water? Aren't you concerned? No, said the shoemaker. The shoemaker who turned water carrier turned woodcutter. I am blessed with a new job, and here I sit with all I need. Everything has turned out just as it should. So seeing that even his new test had not shaken the poor man's faith, the next day the Shah proclaimed that all woodcutters would become members of his royal guard. The poor man was proud to get a silver sword and stand guard at the Shah's palace, dressed in a fine uniform. There he is right there. At sunset, he asked the leader of the guard when he would be paid for his day's work. Well, your payday will come at the end of the month, said the leader. This is terrible. We will starve in a month, said the poor man's wife, because he came home with no puli and no hope of getting anything to eat. So the poor man went into the city and sold his silver sword, and he was able to get a month's worth of food. And then, while his wife cooked the food, he used his axe and he made a wooden sword and put it in his sword carrier and hoped nobody would notice. But he had food for a month, so that was good. So that night, the Shah heard the shoemaker turned water carrier turned woodcutter turned royal guard whistling a tune, happy as ever. I've been thinking about you all day, said the Shah. For when I heard you had become a royal guard, I wondered how you would buy food tonight. So the poor man told the Shah how he had sold the silver sword and made a wooden one. Things have turned out just as they should. So the Shah returned to the palace, and he shook his head and wondered if there was any way to put this guy's faith really to the test, if there was any way to shake his faith. So the next day, he had the leader of the guard tell the poor man, turned palace guard, that in 1 short hour, someone had to kill a thief. Pull out your sword and cut off his head, said the leader of the guard. You are the executioner. Cut off his head, cried the poor man. I have never cut off anybody's head, and I do not plan to start today. You have no choice, the leader said. It is the Shah's command. So the leader of the guard marched the poor man to a courtyard where a crowd was gathered. Excuse me, so there he is, and he's supposed to cut off this guy's head, this poor man who supposedly had stolen something. The poor man said, excuse me, but would you mind if I prayed for a minute? Pray all you like, the leader of the guard said. It's not going to change anything. So the poor man closed his eyes and prayed until the leader said, off with the head! Off with the head! It's time now. At that moment, the poor man knew exactly what to do, and here's what he said out loud. Please help me to do what is right. If this man should be killed, may my sword have the sharpest blade in all Kabul. But if he should be spared, let my sword turn into wood. And he pulled out his wooden sword and held it up. The crowd went, ooh! And even the leader took a step back. Well, they were shocked. Enough! And the Shah stepped forward. There will be no execution here today. And he laughed because there was no thief and there had really been no execution planned. You are the Shah, said the shoemaker, recognizing the guy who had showed up at his house every day. And you are a wise man, said the Shah. With my prayer, I knew just what to do, the poor man said simply. With that, the good Shah brought the poor man to his palace to serve as his royal advisor. But how can one poor shoemaker advise you? Asked the poor man who was not so poor anymore. Well, I've been thinking about you all day, said the good Shah. And when I have the advice of a wise shoemaker and a thankful water carrier, a blessed woodcutter, a humble royal guard, and an executioner who will not raise his sword when it's really time for mercy, I have faith that everything will turn out just as it should. And that is my story of someone whose faith never ever left, even though things got really, really bad. Yeah? Any of you have that much faith in something? Maybe something to think about, yeah? For later. All right, that's my story, and you can either return to your seats or go up to the RE space.
I'd like to invite you all to find yourself in your pews. Find your sit bones pressing evenly into the seat underneath you. Your feet on the floor. Your vertebrae rising one on top of the other, stacking neatly. And begin to attend to your breath. Feel it fill in your belly. And come into being here and now. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. We know that our minds are powerful tools in this world. We love our reason and relish our thoughts, our intellect, and our ideas. Like the poor man in the story, may we use our mental capacities wisely and in the service of the good. Let us use our minds to connect rather than divide. May we use our reason to discern the difference between faith that helps and faith that harms. And may we have the humility and wisdom to pair our reason with the work of the heart and the hands. Our reason may tell us which ideas will help, but it is our heart that tells us to help in the first place. May we remember to connect that line between heart and head, between emotions and intellect, and put that connection to work in the world. May we walk our talk of love. May it be so, and amen.
Pray for Peace by Ellen Bass. Pray to whoever you kneel down to. Jesus nailed to his wooden or marble or plastic cross, his suffering face bent to kiss you. Buddha still under the bow tree in scorching heat. Adonai, Allah. Raise your arms to Mary that she may lay her palm on our brows. To Shekinah, Queen of heaven and earth. To Inanna in her stripped descent. Hawk or wolf or the great whale, record keeper of time before, time now, time ahead, pray. Bow down to terriers and shepherds and Siamese cats, to fields of artichokes and elegant strawberries. Pray to the bus driver who takes you to work. Pray on the bus. Pray for everyone riding the bus and for everyone riding buses all over the world. If you haven't been on a bus in a long time, climb the few steps, drop some silver, and pray. Waiting in line for the movies, for the ATM, for your latte and croissant, offer your plea. Make your eating and drinking a supplication. Make your slicing of carrots a holy act. Each translucent layer of onion a deeper prayer. Make the brushing of your hair a prayer, every strand its own voice, singing in the choir on your head. As you wash your face, the water slipping through your fingers, a prayer. Water, softest thing on earth, gentleness that wears away rock. If you're hungry, pray. If you're tired, pray to the angels and the ghosts of your grandfather. When you walk to your car, to the mailbox, to the video store, let each step be a prayer. And if you are riding on a bicycle or a skateboard, in a wheelchair, each revolution of the wheels, a prayer that as the earth revolves, we will do less harm. Less harmed. Less harm. And as you work typing with a new manicure, a tiny palm tree painted on one pearlescent nail, or delivering soda or drawing blood into rubber cap vials, writing on a blackboard with yellow chalk, twirling pizzas, pray for peace. With each breath in, take in the faith of those who have believed when belief seemed foolish, who persevered. With each breath out, cherish. Pull weeds for peace. Turn over in your sleep for peace. Feed the birds for peace. Each shiny seed that spills onto the earth, another second of peace. Wash your dishes. Call your mother. Shovel leaves or snow or trash from your sidewalk. Make a path. Fold a photo of a dead child around your Visa card. Gnaw your crust of prayer. Scoop your prayer water from the gutter. Mumble along like a crazy person, stumbling your prayer through the streets.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Claire Callahan, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about what TUC means to me in light of our Pledge Month. I promise to try to keep this concise. If Kyle starts playing the music like they do at the Oscars, I know I've gone on too far. But this morning, like many others ahead of mine, my tale of adventure and a significant journey started in a TUC taxi ride. For those who are new to TUC or weren't familiar with him, we had a longtime congregant named Rob Lundy. And Rob was basically service personified. And when he wasn't volunteering at the food depository or in other endeavors, he actually had a service where he would take you to the airport and pick you up, and for a very flat fee, and all of the proceeds would go to the Third Unitarian Church. So such was his generous spirit and passion to serve. How I actually got to know Rob and how we got to